All right. Wonderful. Let's see here. Let's get to our study. Okay. Let's share our screen. All right, let's see, screen is sharing, it's loading. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. And put Fanta in. Yeah, well, we thank you tonight for this opportunity to come before you as your sons and your daughters. We thank you, Yahweh, that you are the Elohim of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. We thank you for your covenant, Yahweh, that you have enjoined unto us through your prophet Moshe and through his brother Aharon. We praise you today, Yahweh, for all that you've done for us. We ask that you cleanse us from any of our impurities, Yahweh, and the things that we have said and have done that have been offensive to you, Yahweh. We are nothing but dust and ashes, and we come before you, Yahweh, just as a puff of wind, asking for you to continue to show your mercy unto us tonight. All praises belong unto you and you alone. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. All right. So this week, it's going to be another interesting another interesting week for us, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to capture whatever we can from the Torah portions, right? And especially something that we have no idea about what they've been about. Shalom, Dr. Yared, Dr. Kawika, Shalom, Fanta, Anthony, Rivqua, Shalom to all of you. So it's a little bit challenging, because of course we're in a place where we're starting from scratch. We don't know anything. We don't really know what the scriptures are saying. We had a religious understanding, and a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't read what they call the Torah. I didn't read the Tanakh. I read the New Testament. I might touch the Psalms here and there when I felt like crying, but I never truly read the Hebrew scriptures, and I never sought out to what the meaning of these things are, which to me can be sometimes a challenge, because we want to understand what the Most High's intention was when he was speaking to Moshe to tell him about the sons of Israel. What's interesting about this Torah portion too this week is that the actual name of Moshe is not mentioned, not one time. I believe this is one of the Torah portions where, it doesn't say that the Most High has spoke to him. He usually just says, speak to your brother in your Akika, Aharon, right? So this is interesting. But the name of this Torah portion is called Tatsaweh, okay? Tatsaweh. And Tatsaweh, it means a command, and it's right here. All right, I'll put it in blue. It's right here. Okay, which is, if we spell this out, it would be a T. It'd be like a, I got the little right there. Ta. Okay, and then the next one is Tsa. And then you see that dot with that wa right there? Way. Ta, tsa, way. Tatsa way. Okay. That ta right there is a second person, masculine singular. So we know he's talking to Moshe. Okay. He's talking to him. And this tsa way right here is really tsa wa. And tsa wa has to do with a command. Okay. We see also too that it is in a form of that which is forceful. Okay. And we also notice that it is something that is not only forceful, but it is in the future. So our Torah portion from last week and our Torah portion this week is just gathering all the information in order to pass on to the children of Israel. What's interesting about this, though, is that he says that this right here is a command. Last week, we saw that he asked for items, which were the Caliph, which is the blue, the Ardaman purple, the Thola'ath, which is the crimson, and he asked for the the wood and the gold and the silver. He made a request and said if anybody was willing that they should give that to him, and also too the oil that he asked for. He says, give me some oil, some shemen, give me some spices, whoever wants to give it willingly. Okay. But today, we're finding that the Most High is saying something that is definitely a charge. Okay. So now that I have the items that you willingly gave to me, okay, and I saw that you were of noble character, and now you have, found your way to begin this relationship off with me. Now that has been established, now we have to get down to the commands. That's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about these commands. It's very important for us to understand that even with the word Zawa, which we would have Zawa, oath of Yahweh's armies. And that has to do with armies, which has to do with, Yah's soldiers, which can be a list of anything. It could be insects, it could be Koravim, it could be Malakim, it could be Seraphim, it could be Ophanim. It's all these different celestial bodies. It's the sun, it's the moon, it's the stars. Okay. We talked last week about the Most High giving charge and giving command to everything that he's made. And so without exception, we're now embarking upon a relationship that this command is being directly towards the sons and the daughters of Israel. Okay. As we've been learning, the eth right here is a direct object marker. That's why it's DROBJ, direct object marker. So this actual verb right here, this action is going to be sent to these individuals, which are the sons of Israel, okay, which includes the daughters. All right. So, and because the Aleph Tav, as you and I both have been learning, is the mark, and it is the one that tells you what the destination is. So the destination of the command is clearly to these people right here. Okay. He asked for them to bring Wayiku. I want you to bring them, individuals, okay, the group of them, plural. I want them to bring to you Aleka Shemen. We're going to not go into detail about the Shemen or the olives at this moment, but probably later on this week or maybe Shabbat, depending on how the Most High wants to move. We're going to break down why he's asking for the olives, okay? And why does it have to be this oil? And why does it have to be pure and pressed, okay? But for tonight, we're just talking about the things that he's asking for. So he commanded that this would be brought to him. And the purpose of the olive is in the oil, because we can find out what the purpose of that is. It's right here for us. It's for the ore. It's for the light, the Lama ore. The Most High had made, how many lights did he make in the heavens on the fourth day? Two. And they're great lights. They're called Gadol. Okay. Two great lights. One is called the Shemesh, which is the sun, and the other one is called the moon, which is called Yorak. Okay. So he made these two great lights, and he's also made the stars, right? So he's saying that I want you to bring this oil so you can burn it, all right, for light. Okay. And I need you to burn this in a lamp. That's what I want you to burn. Okay. All right, let me remember that. So let's ask a question. Now that we know that he wants this oil and he wants it for light, he wants the children of Israel to bring it to them. Let me finish the text so I'll get sideways. Tamid. Tamid means a continual bringing, never stopping. Okay. If we look at this right here, This means a you. Okay. This is it's a mem, it's from. And then we have this word right here, yod. Okay. So you from hand. See? So I want that continually. I want you to continue to do the things that I'm asking you to do by bringing it with your hand, because that's what a person will be able to do, is to bring it continually. Remember, he said, take from them, meaning to bring. So I want to use your hands. From your hand, I want this from your hands. I don't want this from anybody else's hands. I want it from the children of Israel's hands, the Bnei of Israel. The question is why? Why is the Most High asking for light? Why do you think he's asking for light to be inside of the tabernacle of meeting, the Ba'ohel Moed? Why do you think he's asking for light? Somebody give it to me.
Tov.
Well, yes, a great observation. Tov, it's good, it's functional, because that's what the Torah is, because the Torah is light, right? So it's functional, all right? So when they're burning this, let's think about it. Let's open our minds. When he's burning this light, the Lama Or, okay, then what type of light is it? Is it illumination through light bulbs, or what kind of light is it? So somebody,
Pure light,
Fire.
like fire.
that's it. That's the light. So light is fire. Okay. So if light is fire and Torah is light, then what is Torah?
Torah is fire.
Torah is fire. So when the Most High came and he spoke his words, he spoke them out of the fire. Okay. So then, because the Torah is the light that leads us in our path, right? And of course, it says that the commandment is the lamp. It's the ner, it's the lamp. And of course, we're going to see this later on this week. So the ner is the lamp, and the command is the lamp. You see, remember, we'll see that in Proverbs. We'll look at it a little bit later. It talks about the commandment is a lamp, is the vessel. Okay, it's the vessel that is used in order to hold the oil. Okay, and then take the oil and put it inside the lamp. Okay, and then once it's in the lamp, you're going to burn it, which brings in your fire, which brings in your light. And so the Most High says that he wants this continually. I want it from your hand. You from your hand. Continually. And guess for how long? How long does he want it?
Forever.
Okay, so now listen to what I'm going to tell you. If this is forever, which is olam, okay, where you and I don't know in a distant future, how long is the Torah supposed to be the light for us? The Torah is olam.
Forever.
It's forever, you guys. It'll never go away. It's never going to go away. And that's the lesson that he's teaching them. Okay, Yah has intention behind everything he does. So 100% correct, Dr. Yared, because the Torah is Tov. The Torah is Tov. It's functional. It causes us to live the lives that we're supposed to live. If you don't have any light, okay, then you don't have any function. Okay, you're not going to have any function. If you don't have the Torah, you're going to be in darkness. So in this tabernacle, the Ohel Moed, now we see that they call it a meeting. Well, we know that Moed, M-O-E-D, is the root word for Moedim, which Moedim are the appointed times. Okay, so the Most High has said that I want you to come to this tent of meeting, which is the tent of Moed, which represents the time of, well, let's just break it down. What does the mem represent? Again, grammatically, like we had up here with this mem. What does it mean?
Water.
From and water. Yes, because you have to go to the water, from the water. So from, and then we have the wa, which is the tent peg. And then we have these two letters right here, which is the ayin and the dalet, which represent what? And then we have the wa,
which is the
What is that? What is that? The ayin means the eye, and the
Eye
dash
and the door.
door, and it's the eye of the door. And the eye of the door makes you a witness. So I want you to, every time you come to the tent of meeting, you're coming to be a witness to what I have commanded. You guys ask, why is he laughing? Because I'm seeing something here. Because the Most High is telling us that every time that you and I keep a Moedim, he's saying, now that you've kept the Moedim and you're doing what I'm asking you to do, you're following my command. You're not disregarding what I said. You're actually keeping what I said. Okay. So I want you to keep this in particular light. I need this light that you're going to be bringing. I need that to always be on the makuts of the La Koporeth, which is the veil, and which is out before the probably, let me see, the Ark of the Covenant. Any questions before I go down? And listen, if you don't understand something, it's okay, because we're going to always go over these things. The Most High breaks it down for us, and he lets us know, like, you guys are keeping my commandments. When you and I do the Moedim, we're keeping the commandments. Matter of fact, one of the Moedims are coming up soon on April 5th. What's coming up? What's coming up
Pesach.
on April 5th?
Pesach.
Pesach. April 5th in the evening until April 6th in the evening. Okay. And you're supposed to eat unleavened bread. Okay. And we'll talk more about that as we get closer. Okay, but that's a Moedim. And so that Moedim is there to see, okay, whether or not you are going to obey the command. This word Moed, which they use for meeting, is also to, like I told you, the Moedim. Well, it says in Genesis chapter number 1, it says that the sun and the moon and the stars and the are for days, months, years. Okay, days, months, years, and look, and also too for signs and for seasons. Okay, so when they talk about signs, these are oath. That's the Aleph and the Tav. Okay, the oaths. And here for the season they're using for the word Moedim. See? So just by you listening and obeying the Moedim, which is connected to the sun, the moon, and the stars, they are the witness to your actions. They're keeping account of what you do. As you would notice in Psalms 19, it says that they speak, even though you don't hear their words. Rivkwa, are you on tonight? I thought I saw her on here.
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Rivkwa, tell the class about your experience this morning with the moon.
Oh yeah, I got up. It was about 5 o'clock. I faced the east. I did my prayer, and then I turned around and I looked out the window, and the moon is a full moon, and it was right over the right in the window, and it looked like a picture because it was so dark around it. And then on the other side, on the east, the sun was coming up. So we had light on one side of the house, and then darkness and the moon on the other. And as I was doing my little stretches, and the moon was going down and the sun was coming up. And by the time I finished, the moon had gone down behind the hills, but it was such a beautiful sight because the moon literally lit up the whole sky. And it was a witness. You know, I thought to myself, it's a witness to my prayer time. I thought that was really nice. It was beautiful.
Yeah. I like that story. That's why I asked you to share it, because the truth of the matter is that they are the witnesses. They are the faithful witnesses. She also brought out something I think that she didn't bring out, but the fact is that if anybody's going to be able to testify about anything and something that has been faithful to the Most High, has been the sun and the moon and the stars And so let me tell you about that. So they're faithful to him. So they haven't missed a beat. They haven't missed a command. You understand? And that's what makes them faithful. So if you think about it, and I think Qual brought it out earlier to me this morning, when you think about it, you think about, can Yah be trusted? Can he literally be trusted about what he said? I say yes. Yes, he can, because they have been faithful to what he told them to do. So if they're faithful to his word, then you know he's faithful to his word. You understand? Like they're representatives of saying, hey, we're doing what he says. So he exists and we're following what he says. So they should be an inspiration to us. And they are, because when it comes to Rosh Kodesh, we get excited because we know, oh, that's the renewing of the light for that. When we look outside and we see the stars, we can remember the covenant that he's made with our fathers, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. When we look at the sun, we understand that by the rising of it and the setting of it, Yah's name is to be praised. And we also know upon these times that tells us, because the month is directly connected to the month. The moon is directly connected to the month. The sun is directly connected to the days and the years. So is the month. You understand? So we have these connections, okay? And they are there to encourage us to be able to look, to give us the ma'or, to give us the light about what the Most High has said. Like he's requesting Shemin so they can, we can light the nair, the lamp inside of the tabernacle, which they would call the menorah. Okay, so the menorah is giving off of this light, right? So if you think about it, if you're talking about light and you're talking about ma'or, then you should automatically be thinking about the sun, the moon, and the stars. The question I asked earlier is like, why do you think the Most High has this in there? And Dr. Red said it's Tov, it's functional, absolutely. But listen to this, you guys. The Most High does not dwell in darkness. He does not dwell in darkness. David said, even when there's darkness, it is nothing to you, is still light. The Most High is light. That's what he is. He's light. Okay? When they saw the visions of the Most High, they saw light. They saw fire. They saw this brilliance around him, like we read in Ezekiel. So with that being said, the one that we serve and who has control over the sun and the moon and stars, and the sun is nothing but a big ball of fire. That's all it is. The stars are fire. Okay? That's what they are. That's for sure. Okay, I've seen the stars with my telescope. I wouldn't say that the moon is fire because I haven't seen any fire on there. All I see is these craters every time I look at it, but it's getting a reflection and it's receiving light and it's giving, it gives it and then it receives it and then it gives it and then it receives it. So it's like a receptacle. Okay. So the bottom line is that the Most High is desiring to have this light inside of the tabernacle. And it's supposed to be there from the evening until the morning. From the Arev until the morning. Okay. So when the sun goes down, okay, this is darkness and this is light. Put it over here. This is the sun. Okay. The Arev is right here and right here. Okay. So he's saying at this in particular spot, when the lights go down at this time right here, I want that lit all the way through this time period until you come back up into the Boquer, which is the morning right here. Okay. So this is the sunrise. And that's what they call Boquer. Boquer, Boquer. Okay. The night is called Lila, okay, Lila, like that, Lila. But her name before that was called Koshek, okay. Koshek is darkness, and darkness represents misery and something that is bad. Okay, that's what it represents. So the Most High is saying, in a time of darkness, in the night, I want to put my light through this time period. I don't want it to just be dark. I want to light this up. I want that to match the day. I want the day to match the night in my dwelling place. So it lets us know that the Most High is not in darkness. And so therefore, because the Most High is not in darkness, maybe we can answer this question tonight. If there is no darkness with the Most High, then you and I should know with us, we have what they would call the day and we have the night. What's the Hebrew name for day?
Yom.
Yom. And before Yah called it Yom, what did he call it?
Or.
So or was changed to Yom, and then we translate it into day. Lila was called, okay, so darkness was called Koshek, and then he changed it to Lila, and then you and I call Lila night. So we know that this is to mark and to rule the time. So the Most High is saying the day is to, the or is to rule the day, and Lila is to be ruled by the moon. Okay, so we know off of this example that the Most High has given us, that the Most High, because remember, the Most High is talking about dwelling. Remember, it's called in the Mishkan. So the Most High is dwelling, but in his dwelling, there is no darkness. There is no darkness. So what we have, everyone, is this idea of eternity inside of the Mishkan. Okay? Because Yah doesn't have a beginning. He doesn't have an end. He's not created. He doesn't have nights and days. You understand? He's not part of, being underneath the sun, where things can change and where things can be. What happens to us when we're in the sun? What happens to anything that's under the sun? What happens?
It's dark.
It's dark, but what happens to the material over time?
Shrink.
Things begin to get old and things begin to wear away. They begin to wear out. The Most High is eternal. Okay, if they wear out, they die. The Most High never gets old. He never wears out, and he'll never die. You see? So, question, does anyone know the name of Aharon? What does his name mean? His name means the light bearer. He is a bearer of the light. He's the one who's supposed to bring light. That's the reason why he's named that. Okay. So in our Torah portion, I know I got a lot of writing up here. I hope everyone can understand what I'm saying. So he's the light bearer. He's the bringer of light. So the Most High has commissioned him. And this is before the Most High deals with the golden calf. So it was his intention to use Aaron and his sons. Okay. That's his intention. His intention from the get-go was to use Aaron and his sons from evening until morning for them to bring before Yahweh, right? As a kukath, meaning a decree forever from generation in their generations. Okay. And it's supposed to be passed on to their sons. So I want to make a clear distinction between on behalf of the sons of Israel. Let me explain something too, now that we're talking about this. On behalf, Okay, this is a preposition meaning on behalf from, and of course you see the aleph tav there, and that aleph tav, of course, is the destination, and the destination is them. It's the sons of Israel. It's for the sons of Israel. The family of Aharon, okay, and I don't want us to get confused. I know we have said before that they're from the tribe of Levi, okay, so they're really, they're from Levi. They're from their dad, right? But he had a whole bunch of different sons. But the Most High wanted to choose Aaron and his sons, okay, out of this family. And there's others, there's uncles and cousins and so forth, and which you would call them Lewi'im, okay? The Lewi'im are not the Kohanim. The Kohanim is the priesthood. They're going to serve in the tabernacle, okay? After the children of Israel, the firstborns of Israel, went and did the golden calf. The Most High replaced them because remember, Moshe came and asked, he says, who's with Yah and this family, these guys right here got their swords on their side. And they said, okay. And they went handle business, which we're going to come up to next week. Okay. So I'm going to save that. But what I'm saying to you is that the Most High's intention is to have this family, Aharon and his sons, to serve him as Kohanim. And at this moment, the Levi'im weren't in the picture to be representatives of the firstborn yet. They weren't. That's until they did the golden calf incident. But my point here that I want to show you is that their job, Aaron and his sons, are supposed to do everything they're doing on behalf of the sons of Israel. Okay. So the Most High chose his family, Aaron's family. Okay. Just like he chose David's family. And let me show you something right quick, because I think it's very important for us to understand this setup that that the Most High has put together for us, so we get a better understanding of how he's working, because we do want to know how he works, so we can better understand the Most High and we can better understand our purpose. So in the book of Jeremiah, and you can write a note on this, it's chapter number 33, I think in verse number 17, he says this. There's other places we can go to later to talk about anybody who puts their hands to this work, I'm killing them, right? So the Most High says this in verse number 17. He says, for this is what Yahweh says. Okay, so it's important what he says. He says, there will never be cut off from David a man to occupy the throne of the house of Israel. Then he adds, nor will there ever be cut off from the Kohanim, who are Lewi'im. So I know that they are from that family. They're different though. A man before me, a individual, a single man before me to offer burnt offerings, grain offerings, and other sacrifices every day. That's the intent. Okay. This word of Yahweh Keni Yahu. He says, here is what Yahweh says. If you can break my covenant with the Yom and my covenant, right? My agreement with the night, which is Lila, right? So that the daytime and the nighttime no longer come when they are supposed to, then my covenant with my servant David can also be broken, so that he will not have a descendant to reign from his throne, or Lewi'im, who are Kohanim, to minister to me, to serve me, and they serve him in the capacity to bring him offerings. So he chose them just like he chose David's family. So these are the two families that he chose to minister me. He said to the degree, and again, he's associating these covenants with the day and the night, which we know is the sun and the moon. And then he mentions the armies of heaven are past counting, which you would know that that is the stars and what they would call the planets. I don't know if you know how many they've been seeing out there, but there's trillions of stars. They can't be counted, okay? And the sand by the sea, past measuring. So I'm not only having in the heavens, in the Shamayim, but also I'm also going to go into the sand, which you can't count that either. Because the sand is on the seashore, but it's also in the sea as well. You can't count that either. So these are areas that nobody can count. They can't do it. So the Most High has, in his great wisdom and infinite wisdom, has set it up to where these covenants can never be broken, because he knows that no one will be able to measure the sand that's on the seashore or even in the sea. He also understands that they will never be able to count the stars. So if that's the case, I will increase, just like the armies of the heaven can't be counted and the sand can't be counted. I'm going to increase the descendants, plural, of my servant Dawid and the Lawaim, which are the Kohanim who are ministering to me. That's a promise. And then the Most High asked the question. Yahweh came to Yirmiyahu. The word said, haven't you noticed that these people are saying Yahweh has rejected the two families he chose? This word right here is called ma'as, okay? And ma'as means melt away. It means to do away with. It means to get rid of and to melt away. And he says, this hasn't happened. You believe that I've gotten rid of these two families, two of them. The two families that he chose is the family, not the tribe. He said the mishpachah, okay? So the first family that he chose was David's family from his father. Right? So Dawid's family. Okay. So it's Dawid from his family. And the second family he chose was who? What man did he choose to pick? What's the one individual he picked, and from him everything else came?
Aharon.
There you go. Aharon. Aharon is the bearer of light. You understand? So he's going to be bringing that fire. You see? Okay. And Dawid is the one that joins both houses together, because in his name, there's a Dalet and a Wa and another Dalet. You know, the Dalet equals a door, and then you got another door on this side. And then you got this, which joins both of those doors together. A door is for a house. And then here's another house. So what two houses is Dawid supposed to join together?
Yehuda and Levi.
Israel.
Yes, Yisrael and Yehuda. So he's going to join Yehuda together, just like he did when the Most High called him. He joined him with the house of Yisrael, which are the other 10 tribes. Those are going to go together. Once they're together, then we will have a king. You see? And then we'll have a what? A priest. You see? And then we'll have an altar. And then we'll have an offering. And then we'll have everything that the book of Hosea talks about. Okay? So Yah is saying that I made a promise. So when you and I look up at the stars, we should see ourselves. When we look up at the sun and the moon, and where Rivka saw the moon, she should remember that the Most High made a definite promise. He says, here's what Yahweh says, if I have not established, okay, meaning kum, Q-U-M, kum means to raise or to establish. If I haven't raised up my covenant with the day and the night and fixed the laws, which is the kokim, okay, for the sky, which is the decrees for the sky and the earth, for the shamayim and the earth, then I will also reject the descendants of Yaakov. Okay. So it's not only dealing with Dawid, but he's dealing with Aharon family, and he's also dealing with the descendants of Yaakov, which is you and I will also reject. So check this out. If the Most High is done with, listen to me carefully so you can tell all your Christian friends and family, if the Most High is done with the descendants of Yaakov, if he's done with us, then that meant that he's done with the laws for the sky and the earth. You understand? Because we're connected to the sky and the earth. We're connected to the sand of the sea. We're connected to the stars of the heaven. And he said, and of my servant Dawid, not choosing from his descendants, plural. David has only had like 21 to 22 people to sit on his throne to rule. So we know off the top, there's not only 21 and 22 stars. That means that whoever the Most High chooses from David's line is going to continue to bring forth descendants to rule, because this is the goal. The goal is to rule over the descendants of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, which is us. For I will cause their captives to come back, and I will show them compassion. So anytime you and I will go back, it's because of a few things. Number one, Yah has established his covenant with the day, the yom, and the night. So if the sun is coming up, then you know the Most High made a promise. So tomorrow, when you see the sun come up, you need to praise Yah. That's why it's okay. Yes, Yah. Okay. All right. All right. So here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Check this out. Look what he just said. Check this out. So this will make sense to you now, because this just popped in my head when I was just thinking about it. Listen what it says in Psalms 113. In context, okay, listen, look what it says. He says, hallelujah, you servants of Yahweh, give praise to the name of Yahweh. Why? Blessed be the name of Yahweh from this moment on and forever. From what? What did he say? He said from Mizberak, which is the sunrise, until sunset. So Yah says, I want you to give me praise from when the sun comes up until when it sets. Yahweh's name is to be praised. Why? Just off of what we read in Jeremiah and what we're reading now, somebody tell me, why should you and I praise his name from this time to this time?
Because he's Gadol.
Because he what?
Light.
Number
He's-
one, you right. There's the light, right? So check this out. Going back to the tabernacle, but going back to what he said, if I break my covenant, listen, if I broke my covenant with the sunrise, which is Yom, when that morning happens, that's when he says you should praise me. That right there tells you that you are in a covenant. I haven't broken my covenant that I made with David and what I made with the Leviim. And also, too, you should understand that the Yom always represents light, which should always make you think about fire, which should always make you think about what I said, which should always direct you to the Torah. And so when you see the sun, you should praise Yah, because you have an opportunity to keep the Torah. And he says, until sunset, Yahweh's name is to be praised. Okay. Now, the Jewish people tell you, you don't supposed to say Yah's name. You're supposed to call him Hashem. Is that what this said? No, it says, praise the name of Yahweh. Praise the name of Yahweh. So all these little places you see Adonai, that means Yahweh in the Hebrew scripture. David uses his name several times, okay? So anytime the sun comes up, you and I should be thanking him and praising him, because not just only for the light of the sun and the Torah, but also the covenant, because we know that he hasn't broken the covenant that he made with David and the Kohanim, who are Leviim. Because Yahweh is what? He's high above all nations. His glory is above all the heavens. And it asks the question, who's like him? Who's like our Yahweh, our Elohim, sitting in the heights, humbling himself to look on the earth, or look on heaven and earth. So he's above heaven. He's above the Shamayim, okay? He's not in the Shamayim. Check this out. He humbles himself. He's humbling himself. He calls himself to be humble, to look on the heaven and on earth. This right here is the Shamayim. Sha, meaning two, and Mayim is what? What's Mayim?
Plural.
Yeah, it's a plural, and Mayim is waters. Because Mayim is water, okay? But Shah means two, like your two teeth. This is the Shah, the Shin. That's what this is. And it's like the two teeth. That's why they make the Shin like that, because it represents the two teeth. The two waters. So the waters that are above us is the second water. The first water is on the earth. The other one is above it. Okay. So we read, I think in our Torah Shabbat teaching, that the Most High has those waters, and he told that the waters obey what he says, and they listen to him, right? He raises the poor from the dust. I want you to think about this. The Most High sees somebody laying in dust. Listen to me. They're all covered in dust. They're dusty, don't land no lotion. You know, they're dry as all get out. Their clothes are all dusty. They look old and weathered, and they just look like they're about to leave. You know, like they're out of here. Yah raises that poor person from the dust, and he lifts the needy from the rubbish heap. And who's he talking about? He's talking about Israel. That's how he sees us. Because right now we're not rich. We're not. Dawood kept saying he had 99 tons of gold. And he said, I'm poor and needy. Why did he say that? Because he understood who the Most High is. We don't have nothing in comparison to be compared to his glory. So we're just human. They made us think that you and I are rich, but we're not rich at all. Okay. But I like the fact that he takes the poor and he takes the needy from the rubbish heap. So I'm seeing somebody sitting in a pile of garbage in order to give him or her a place among princes or princesses and among the princes of his people. He causes the childless woman to live at home happily as a mother of children. Hallelujah. He could do that. That's what his intention is. So that tells you about his character. So if the Yah sees the poor sitting in the dust and the needy in the rubbish of the heap of trash, he'll raise them up. And he'll let that person sit among princes. And a woman who couldn't have any kids, he'll cause her to have babies because that's what he does. So you can see that's why he should be praised, because Yah is interested in what? The continuation of life. He's interested. When you think about a woman who was childless, like our mother Sarah, when she was childless, was she happy? Really think about it. Was she really, really happy? She's probably giving out instructions to other women and they were like, yeah, whatever. You don't even have a kid. Who are you going to tell me something, right? So a woman who's childless, they're not happy. So he says, I'm going to turn that around. So Yah is concerned with happiness for people. Yeah, so we can see that even from this example of mother of children, right? The woman who couldn't have a child. He's also interested in lifting those who are poor and the needy from being destitute. And then he sits them among princes. So that's where they are no longer poor, but then they become rich. And they're sitting at different tables now that are full of abundance. So the Most High is about richness and he's about abundance, and that can only happen through him. So happiness comes from him, wealth comes from him, abundance comes from him, covenant comes from him, light comes from him. You understand? And look how as powerful as he is, because he's high above all the nations. Remember, he sits upon the circle of the earth and he looks down at human beings. They look like grasshoppers to him. He said, listen, even in his glory is above all the heavens. His glory is above the heavens. He's not human. Who is like him? Who is like him who's seated in the heights of the heights and he's humbling himself? So if our creator, the magnificent one, the majestic one, the one full of light and power, is willing to humble himself, what should a dusty, dirty, broke, needy human being that's nothing but a puff of wind do? Our Elohim is powerful, but yet he's exemplifying humility. That gives me an occasion to give him praise and say that I want to be like you. I want to be like you. I want to match my life to where you could be pleased with me. Okay. So here we're seeing that his name, and of course, Dr. Yared, can you tell us what does the name, what does this mean? What is name? What is the Shem?
Praise.
It's Yah's character.
Character.
It's his character. Do you see his character here? Who's like him? But then he tells us that you're servants. So if you're serving Yahweh's the master and you're a servant, you should adopt Yahweh's character. His name is mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. And they tell you don't supposed to say his name. Okay. Interesting enough, piggybacking off of that, in our Torah portion, it talks about 6 different elements of the uniform of the priest. So before we go tonight, I want to see if any of you can name a few of them for me. So let's just start with number 1. When we talk about the priestly garments, there's 6 items. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So what's the first item? Just guess. What is the priest supposed to wear? Name something. Turban, a belt, what? Come on, you guys. Huh?
Is it linen?
Okay. So yeah, so number 1, we got a linen tunic. Okay, perfect. All right. And then what else?
Breastplate.
Ooh, somebody got it, which is called the koshin, but I'll just put breastplate right here. What else?
The ephod,
All right. We got the ephod. Uh-huh. Perfect. What else?
the turban,
Okay, we got the turban, which is called a misnefeth. Okay.
Do they wear
Turban, okay.
ZTs?
You're absolutely right. On top of that item, he has what they call a zitz, which is called a plate that goes over the turban. It's made out of gold and says Kodosh to la Yahweh, meaning set apart to Yahweh. All right, what else?
I would go as far as saying a beard and a head full of,
Yeah. So what'd you say?
I would say I would go as far as saying a beard and a head full of hair.
A handful here, yeah. Those are items that he should come with. But this is the one that the children of Israel are going to make for him. Good, I like that, Dr. Red. So they got one called I got up here the linen tunic, what someone mentioned. Also too, we have the there's another item that they have, which is all blue, which is another cloak. So there's another cloak. So they have a linen one that's white, right? Linen. And then this one, right, this cloak right here is going to be made from the Tekalith color, all blue. We got the ephod, and what else do we have? The Ma'il. And and the last thing that we have here, I think, is I think it was a sash, if I'm not mistaken, like a belt. Okay, so they got a belt. And so they're supposed to make the tunics for Aaron and his sons, but the one that Aharon is wearing is the one that's really beautiful, and it's going to be really crafted with all different colors. We'll talk a little bit more about that on Yom Kamishi if Yahweh's willing. Okay, but good job, you guys. So yeah, these items that he has them wearing. Okay, so the priests themselves, his sons, are not going to be able to wear everything he's wearing. Only the Hagadol which is the high priest. He's the one who wears that. How many sons do Aharon have? How many
I think
sons
he
does
had
he?
4.
Yes, absolutely. We got 4 sons. Somebody tell me what their names are.
Eleazar,
Elazar.
Nadab,
Huh?
Nadab.
Yeah, Nadav. Uh-huh. I should clean up my writing. I'm gonna put it from the
Ithamar.
oldest. Huh?
Ithamar.
Okay, somebody's on it. So Ithamar is the baby. Nadav is the oldest. Okay, and then we have Eleazar, which is the third oldest. And
Avihu?
then, hey, Avi. And then who? Avihu. Okay. What does Nadav mean?
Does that mean willing?
Yes, indeed. Willing and to be generous. Perfect. That's willing. Avi means what?
That's he is my father.
Yes, he is my father. Perfect. He is my father is Avihu. Eleazar.
Yah has helped. Help.
Yes, El is my helper. Perfect. That's Eleazar. And then Ithamar. I'll help you with that. He is righteous, or you would say straight up, because Thamar means like Tamar from remember Judah's woman, daughter-in-law called Tamar. That's in Ithamar's name, and that Ithamar right there is a yod. So Tamar is a palm tree, and she's straight up. So he is straight, meaning he is righteous. Okay. So when you think of these names, who named them? Who named these sons? What's the name of their father?
Aharon.
Aharon is their father, the bearer of light. Okay, so when the Most High is calling his family, he's looking for willingness, right, and generosity, right, and he's looking, which is found in Nadav. Okay, and then we have Avihu. My father is he, right? So the Most High, Aaron was talking about the Most High. My father is he. That's why he named him that. And then Eleazar is, El is my helper. Okay, so Eleazar got his name from his father, and so that was indicative of his character and what the Most High was doing for him in his life. And then he says he is upright, or he is like a palm tree. He's righteous. So that's the reason why the Most High chose this family. Okay, because their character is supposed to be in their names. Now, of course, we're going to find out that, like I mentioned on Shabbat, that sometimes we live, we actually live lives that are contradictive, right? We live contradictive lives. Our names are not really living up to what our name is. And so we're going to see that later on with two of these sons, okay? Because you could take something, the willingness and the generosity, and you can go too far. In an Avihu, him and Nadav, they both got clipped. But you think, well, why did Avihu get clipped? My father is he. So he's thinking, oh, my father's Aharon. I'm good. I don't have to listen. I can do whatever I want. And he got clipped. This guy went too far. These two dudes right here went too far. They went too far. Okay. So any questions? Good job, you guys. Excellent. Because your name is your character.